Scrutiny here is at 10:30?
It's about a minute.
A minute before, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your attendance and welcome you to the annual meeting of Intellipharmaceutics International, Inc. My name is Dr. Issa Odidi, and as chairman of the company, I will chair today's meeting. We will begin with a formal meeting to conduct the business of the company as set forth in a notice of annual meeting of shareholders dated February 20th, 2013. At the conclusion of the formal meeting, we are open to questions if desired. Present today are Dr. Amina Odidi, Director, President, and Chief Operating Officer of the company; John Alport, Director and Vice President, Legal Affairs and Licensing of the company; Shamiz Rampatab, Vice President, Finance and Chief Financial Officer of the company. At this time, I now call the meeting to order. I will now address the appointment of Secretary and Scrutineer. With the consent of the meeting, I would ask at this time that John Alport act as Secretary of this meeting. The list of shareholders entitled to vote at this meeting has been tabled. Canadian Stock Transfer Company, by its representative, Mr. Christopher De Lima, is acting as scrutineer of the meeting. Has everyone registered with the scrutineer? If not, please do so now. The notice calling this meeting, the management proxy circular, and the form of proxy were mailed to those shareholders who were entitled to receive such materials or to their designated agents. Copies of the financial statements of the company and auditor's report were mailed to registered shareholders of the company and those beneficial shareholders who have requested such materials. Additional copies of such materials are available at this meeting. Unless there are any objections, I propose that we dispense with the reading of the notice of meeting. Proof that notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the bylaws of the company has been filed with the Secretary, and I'm advised that there is a quorum present. I now declare that this annual meeting has been properly called and is regularly constituted for the transaction of business. Before commencing the business of the meeting, I would like to comment on the voting procedure. Each registered holder of common shares who personally attends the meeting, or each duly appointed proxy holder of a registered shareholder, will be entitled to vote at the meeting the number of common shares held on the record date by the registered shareholder. Voting today on all matters will be by a show of hands unless a ballot is demanded. Please note that each shareholder or proxy holder present in person at this meeting has the right to demand that a ballot be conducted on any resolution, either before the show of hands vote or following that vote. I now place before the meeting the consolidated financial statements of the company as at and for the year ended November 30th, 2012, together with the independent auditor's report to the shareholders. Now, copies of these documents were mailed to the registered shareholders of the company who were entitled to receive them, or to their designated agents, as well as to the beneficial shareholders who requested them. Extra copies of these documents are available. Management will be available to respond to any questions on the financial statements at the conclusion of the formal part of the meeting, if people wish. The next item of business is the election of directors. Management nominees were identified in the management proxy circular and mailed to the shareholders of the company. The slate of nominees is comprised of Dr. Issa Odidi, Dr. Amina Odidi, John Alport, Bahadur Madani, Kenneth Kisted, and Dr. Eldon Smith. I will now hear a motion nominating these persons as directors of the company for the ensuing year.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate for election as directors of the company the 6 persons whose names have been read.
Any seconder?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? As there are no further nominations, I declare that nominations are closed. I now put the motion to the meeting and call for a vote by a show of hands. For the motion, show of hands. Carried. I declare the motion carried and that the 6 nominees are elected directors of Intellipharmaceutics International Inc. to serve until the next annual meeting of shareholders or until their successors have been duly elected or appointed. I will now hear a motion for the appointment of the auditors of the company for the forthcoming year and authorizing the directors of the company to fix the remuneration to be paid to the auditors.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Deloitte & Touche LLP Chartered Accountants be appointed auditors of the company until the next annual meeting, and that the directors of the company be authorized to fix the remuneration to be paid to the auditors as set out in the management proxy circular.
I just want to make a slight correction. Actually, it's Deloitte LLP, not Deloitte & Touche. Sorry for that typo. It's Deloitte. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting and call for a vote by a show of hands. For the motion, votes withheld? None. Carried then. I declare the motion carried and that Deloitte LLP Chartered Accountants are appointed as auditors of the company and that the directors of the company are authorized to fix their remuneration. This concludes the business of the meeting. As there is no further business to be brought before the meeting, I will now hear a motion to conclude the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to conclude the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting. For the motion, against the motion, none. So it's carried. I declare the formal portion of the meeting concluded. Are there any questions that the shareholders have for management of the company at this time? It looks like there are none. Thank you very much for the confidence. Thanks. And that concludes the meeting. Thank you.